There's a second that happens before you stop yourself. It's fast, almost invisible. You're about to say something honest, or choose something that actually fits you, and then something inside you goes, wait. Not loudly, not clearly, just enough to slow you down. What's strange is, nothing dramatic happens in that moment. There's no argument in your head, no fear spike, no clear reason. You just quietly step away from it. Later, you might not even remember what you stopped yourself from doing. You only remember the feeling, that sense of choosing the safer version without thinking. You don't tell yourself you're hiding. You tell yourself you're being reasonable. You adjust slightly. You smooth it out. You go with what won't stand out, and it feels normal. That's the confusing part. It doesn't feel like suppression. It feels like maturity. This feeling didn't come from one big moment. It formed slowly, in small situations where you noticed what worked. You noticed when conversations moved easily. You noticed when people stayed comfortable. And you noticed when things slowed down just a little. A pause, a look, a moment where the energy shifted. Nothing bad happened, but your body noticed the difference. So it adapted, not in a dramatic way, in a practical way. It started editing you before expression, before words, before choices, not because being different was dangerous, because being different required more effort, more explaining, more attention, more presence. Sameness didn't. Sameness moved things along. So over time, your system learned a quiet rule. Keep things smooth. That rule didn't feel like control. It felt like being easy to be around. You didn't think, I should hide parts of myself. You thought, this isn't worth complicating. That's how the feeling of not being allowed forms, not from rules, from friction. Difference slows things down. Sameness keeps rhythm, and humans protect rhythm instinctively. That's why this shows up in small moments, not in big dramatic decisions. Choosing clothes that feel safe instead of right. Laughing a second earlier than you need to. Letting opinions stay half-formed. You're not lying, you're compressing. Over time, compression becomes automatic. So automatic that it feels like personality. Easygoing, flexible, low maintenance. But later, something feels off. After conversations, in quiet moments, you think, I could have said that. Not better, just more like you. Here's the part most people don't notice. Being different removes scripts. When you do what's expected, you don't have to stay alert. You know how the exchange will go. When you do something different, there's no template, no clear next step. Your body doesn't read that as danger. It reads it as work. Work means effort. Effort means exposure. That's why even small differences feel heavy. Pausing instead of agreeing. Admitting you don't feel the same way. Choosing something without examples. Each one asks you to stay present. If you learned early that staying alert mattered, your system avoids extra work, automatically. Over time, avoidance turns into belief. I'm not allowed to be different. But what you're really saying is, I don't want to manage what happens next. That weight is social. Difference pulls focus toward you, and focus used to mean adjustment, even subtle adjustment. A suggestion, a joke, a redirection. Nothing harsh, just enough to teach you what flowed better. So of course your body resists change. It's loyal. Loyal to what kept things calm, loyal to what kept you connected. That doesn't make you weak. It means you learned awareness early. You learned how to read rooms, how to adapt, how to belong. The problem isn't that skill, it's that you're still using it everywhere. You're not trying to survive anymore. You're trying to feel aligned. Alignment doesn't always feel smooth. it feels specific. Specific feels sharp if you're used to rounding yourself down. That's why being yourself can feel awkward at first. You're doing it consciously, instead of automatically. That awkwardness isn't failure, it's unfamiliar effort. Your body mistakes it for a warning, but it's just adjustment. You don't fix this by being louder, or bolder, or fearless. You fix it by staying with mild discomfort without correcting yourself, by letting a sentence land as it is, by not rescuing the moment. Difference doesn't need drama, it needs repetition. Each time you don't edit yourself and nothing breaks, your system learns. Moments can slow down without collapsing. People can adjust. Silence can pass. Slowly, the resistance fades. Not because you forced it, because it stopped being useful. You stop asking if you're allowed, not because you decided to stop, because the question no longer fits. Difference stops feeling like a request. It starts feeling like a position, not a performance, not a statement, just where you stand. And that's when being different costs less energy. You're no longer managing the moment, you're inside it.